So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat. It doesn't say the recovering Democrat, but maybe he's fully recovered now. I don't know. As you guys,
No, I'm on my phone.
right. So, as y'all can see, Donovan is not at his usual spot. He is about to take off overseas for a couple of weeks, and so we wish him, safe travels and all that. But in the meantime, he's here. So anyway, like to say a big giant thank you also to Facebook and YouTube for being the other side of the conversation. You guys are not just viewers, but you are participants. We believe that your voice should be heard as well. It is Free Flow Friday, where we're going to talk about, whatever comes up, I guess, whatever's on your mind. Throw whatever you need to in the comment section, and we'll discuss it. Donovan will be back. He's going to unfortunately be in and out due to his reception or something like that. I don't know what's going on, but he'll be back here. So I also like to say thank you to Marcus Guyton for everything he does behind the scenes on Facebook to make the show go farther. And hello, Anais and Robin. We also ask that you guys share this live if you can, and most definitely like it. So anyway, as I said, we're going to talk about a whole host of things. Just trying to see if Donovan is going to come back in here. He was trying to do it from his computer earlier, but it wouldn't allow him to do that. And so he had to go on his phone. Hey, Tracy, how you doing? Thank you so much. And AJ, how you doing? So yeah, we're going to see if he pops back in here before I actually go ahead and get started. As you guys can see. Yeah, and I use slow twerking in Italy. If that's, what they're calling. I guess they tried to make justifications as to why it was okay for some of them. Ciara, they're trying to say she was, I guess, a little bit more on the classy side. I didn't know it was such thing to classy twerk, but I guess, anything is possible. So yeah, we're going to start off with that. And then, like I said, whatever else you guys may want to talk about, we'll definitely talk about that. So Donovan has not seen the video, so I'm just trying to give him another chance to pop in here so he can watch it as well. And so, what else is going on before we get started? I'm trying to think. There's a whole lot of stuff going on, but unfortunately I can't think of anyway. Yes. And I use, yes, Ciara she's somebody's wife, right? She's supposed to be married to Russell Williams, I think is of the Seahawks, right? The Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, that's not very wifely. Oh, you want me to show the video? Okay, so Donovan popped in on Facebook, so he's going to try to come back in here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So anyway, y'all, again, if you can like and share this, I would appreciate it. So I'm going to show you guys this video. It's not very long, but I want to get you guys' opinion of it. As I said, a couple of people asked me to, I was about to say, a couple of people asked me to twerk about it. They wanted me to talk about it, okay? Not twerk about it. So anyway, here we go, y'all. Check it out.
Come on, CC.
So I don't know what part of that is classy. Anastasia, how you doing? And the Pioneer, hello. I don't know what part of that was classy. I never thought personally that twerking was classy at all. Now, I want to be careful when I say this, okay? Because I'm not saying that they are better than we are. But notice the company that they were in. Now, that was a Dolce and Gabana. I guess it was a fashion show. And it sounds like Megan or Ciara or Normani. That's who it was. One of them or two of them were in the actual fashion show. So that seems to be an after party that they were at. And for whatever reason, the twerking spirit took over. And you saw what you saw. And so, unfortunately, there's a lot of people, mostly women, that are defending that horrible behavior, right? Now, I also want to say that shouldn't be done anywhere. We've seen it, at various restaurants. You guys might have saw, I think it was last year, it was a restaurant. Oh gosh, I can't think of the name of the restaurant, but it's in Dallas somewhere, where a group of sisters, and I do say that lightly, a group of sisters thought they would get up on the man's furniture and twerk, and then he came out and, cussed them out, for lack of better words. And then people seem to be more mad at the fact that he used some salty language than they were at the women who were on his furniture, were twerking on the walls, in what my mom used to call mixed company, right? Because everybody that was at that restaurant, it sounds like it's a fairly, high-end restaurant, I guess. But, there's a lot of people that were there that did not want to be a part of that. Like, I know if I was at a restaurant and I saw that, I don't know what I would do. I would, be horrified for sure. But, I'm not really for sure what it is with this twerking phenomenon. It's been around for a while. And then some people even argue it's an ancient form of dance. It comes from the motherland and all of that. Although I would think they are doing it for different reasons. But as you guys also heard, the music, it was, I don't know, some Italian artist, or I don't know, Latino artist. I don't know what it was exactly. But it's like, damn, what won't you twerk to? I mean, what if Sesame Street, Sesame Street theme song came on? Would you twerk to that too? So I'm not really for sure, but a lot of people did try to clean it up and say, well, Ciara, she was classy twerking and she stopped. But as you guys can see, I didn't see where she stopped. Maybe she wasn't shaking her butt as much, but she definitely was there twerking and she was egging it on. Ciara is significantly older than Normani and Megan Thee Stallion. I believe Normani and Megan Thee Stallion are in their 20s, and Ciara is definitely in her 30s, right? Somewhere around there. But none of it is excusable. But again, I'm through with us, and I'm saying us in general, excusing that behavior. Making so many, well, ain't nothing wrong with that. They were just having fun and, all of that. And it's like, well, I guess there's a time and a place for that. But see, and I'm going to get to you guys' comments. I think one of the bigger problems is we excuse that behavior everywhere. And I can't remember what it was, the Grammys or one of those shows where Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion were what they call scissoring each other. You guys can look it up on the stage, for everybody to see. And, I'm 50 and I keep saying that and I'm still coming to terms with it. But I just can imagine years ago, I would have never imagined, I guess you could say years ago, that if somebody would say, well, in 2021, there's going to be female artists on the stage scissoring each other, I would have said, nah, there's no way they would allow that to happen, right? But clearly I would be wrong. And so another thing, Chloe Bailey, I guess she's Chloe and Halle. She's part of the Chloe and Halle music group, Beyonce's artist. She came out with a song today. Don't get me the line. I don't know the name of it, but it's a pretty raunchy video. If probably not more raunchier than the ones that we've seen from Cardi B, Megan, and Lil Kim. Even let's throw her in there because I know somebody probably say, "Well, this is nothing new," and there's nothing new at all, right? But the one disturbing part about me to Chloe's video is that Beyonce's mother had a cameo appearance in this video. It's a short little part. But I'm like, now surely this is a woman of some age and wisdom and knowledge. And what made you want to be in this video? I would think at some point in time that, Miss Tina Knowles, who has produced, helped anyway, two of the greatest artists to ever live, Solange and Beyonce, you would think she would have said, well, I don't think that's something I want to be a part of. I mean, that's kind of a younger girl thing. Not that Tina was twerking. I'm not saying she was doing any of that. It was a short little role, but just the fact that she was in it to begin with. And I'm wondering, where are all the women of wisdom? Where are all the women of wisdom? You know, to say twerking at a fashion show, restaurant, you know, anywhere other than a club, I guess, I don't know, is inappropriate. And no, I will not be in this video that's doing a lot, to say the least, right? I'm not going to be, I'm a lady. I'm supposed to be the authority figure here. You know, I guess I'm supposed to be the one that you guys are drawing wisdom from. I should not be signing up to be in such a video. And so I want to know you guys' opinion. Again, a couple people asked me to cover it. I saw it. I was like, I don't really want to talk about it, but I thought that we would talk about it. So maybe Donovan will come back when he gets his Wi-Fi situation together. Again, he's in LAX trying to catch a flight later on today. So anyway, I'm going to get to you guys' comments. And Aisha says Larry Elders was on with Candace Owens. Yeah, we'll talk about that too. Actually, let me write that down. I want to talk about something else in regards to Larry Elders. You guys know Larry Elders is running for the governor of California. He is a Republican candidate, and he is probably 10 times worse, I would say, than Trump in some of his policies and just the things that he is trying to do. So we'll talk about Larry Elders as well. Pioneer, again, how you doing? He says, good evening, beautiful queen and king and family. And Robin says, I just wish twerking in public would fade away. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere anytime soon. And I'm with you. I wish it would just go away. It's a horrible thing. Facts Not Feelings, how you doing? And I says, to Mambo Italiano. Okay, that's the song. That song would be the same for me. That same won't be the song won't be the same for me. You know, absolutely. I mean, I didn't know what it was. I just knew it wasn't something I might have heard it before. I don't know, but it's like, damn, what won't you twerk to? I mean, you just twerk to anything? Okay. But as y'all saw too, it may have seen, there's people there kind of clapping. You know, I don't know what was going on through their mind. They're like, oh, okay, look at these negresses out here, you know, putting on a show. I mean, I don't know what was going on through their mind. The Pioneer says, I have mixed feelings on that particular instance. I didn't see the entire video. I'm talking about the one with the twerking. I mean, it wasn't very long, about 38 seconds or so. But yeah, it was Megan Thee Stallion, Ciara, and Normani thought they would twerk at a Dolce and Gabana party. Not that Dolce and Gabbana's special or more special than our events, but you know, guess they'll twerk anywhere. All right, let's see if Donovan's got a good connection. You back, man?
I am back. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
But if I do go out, it is a government Wi-Fi system, so it might go out again. But I will get back in as soon as I can. So yeah, that was a great video. I loved it. It was great.
I bet you did, brother. All right. And hello, Antoine, and hello, Eric. And AJ says it's not classy at all. That was so embarrassing. I agree. Very embarrassing. And Anastasia says, can I say this? When I was, I think in Italy, most couldn't tell foundational Black American and continental Africans. And they had campfire, quote unquote, girls, but they thought of us, all of us were campfire girls. That's always a time and place. So what is a campfire girl? I'm not really for sure what that is. And LaMarcus, how you doing? He says that was in Houston. Well, there might have been a few restaurants that women, our women were twerking in, but I know for sure, no one was in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. I cannot think of the name of that restaurant because I actually covered the story. But yeah, he went off because, you know, he was like, I asked him nicely to stop twerking a couple of times and they kept doing it, right? It was just the most. And so he went in there and I could feel his frustration.
Wait, are you talking about the Turkey Leg Hut?
No, not the Turkey Leg Hut. It was, I can't think of the name of that doggone restaurant, but he came out and gave him the business. And then people were more mad at him for saying, hey, you know, knock it off, to say the least. And Sunlight, how you doing? And the Pioneer says, I have a problem with the thuggish and ratchet behavior. I made a problem with it, but sexual doesn't necessarily equate to ratchet. I have a problem with vulgar sexuality in public, not all sexuality. Well, I mean, I think you could be sexy, but when you bend over and you're doing all of that, that's definitely vulgar, right?
Now, wasn't this an event where people were drinking and eating and sitting at a table? So,
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're in a dining aspect of a a dining entree. Who wants somebody's funky, stanky, dirty, hump booty ass all up in their face? You know what I mean? All up in their face while they're trying to either enjoy their meal or enjoy the ambiance of the entertainment.
Donovan, tell us how you really feel. Oh my God.
Well, I'm just saying, here these people in one aspect, a good example, Megan Thee Stallion will say, oh, I went to an HBCU and I did this and I did that, right? But you rap a certain thing or you act a certain way, but you want to be treated a certain way. You see what I'm saying? It's a confusing message all the way around because you might be educated and all that other good stuff, like you claim you are, but look at how you're acting.
No, I mean, I definitely agree. And that's what I said. And a couple people got mad at me when I said this once. Yeah, she goes to a college and all of that, a university. I wish that would be more what they would talk about opposed to the other stuff that she does, right?
Right. And then she's saying she's going to a HBCU. Does anybody but me see a pattern here? Does anybody see a pattern with these HBCUs, especially when it comes to Black women?
No, do tell, brother. Do tell.
Okay. Do you see the pattern? Ratchetness. Sleeping your way to the top, Kamala Harris, all of this stuff. But these are these great institutions of learning. My niece went to Spelman and she said that they don't even teach women empowerment there. That isn't what they teach there. They teach something else. So I'm just saying, I just see a pattern of ratchetness and wickedness and just, going out there and sleeping your way to the top, because that's all I'm seeing.
Well, I would think there's a little bit more that's coming out of those HBCUs. And I didn't go to one, but I would just think so. And Gloria says, hello, Demetra. I would not be participating in that, even if I was younger. Happy Friday. And happy Friday to you as well. LaMarcus says, I was ashamed when I saw it. Same here. And Anastasia says, don't bring Africa into they mess. Just tacky. Yeah, well, I brought it up because a lot of people, I've heard that justification. Well, that's what, that actually come from the motherland. And that's some sort of a mating call. And I've heard it all. So now
that is total bullshit. We were in Africa and they told us, what is that stupid, funky, stank ass dance that they do there in America? What does it mean?
Nah, I'm not saying that, we're putting that on the motherland, but I have heard that quite a few times that, that's where it originates from, right? And somebody says, yep, Ciara is just as guilty. Yeah, there's no classy twerking. The Pioneer says twerking actually is a form of ancestral memory because it's a mating. See, I did hear that, a mating dance where women show off how nice their butts are and how well they can move their hips. So I did hear that. I heard that, and I heard people say that's where it came from. So I know I ain't making it up.
So let me see this. Ciara, who is married to Russell Wilson, who has been written about as a premier Black couple, a premier, a couple that people should look up to because they're so Christian and, they put their values out there and stuff. But yet Ciara dated Future, whoever the gangster rapper, whoever this guy is.
Yeah, Future. They got
and then she levels up to what Russell Wilson. Make it make sense to me, people, please. And Pioneer, no, I'm not in a bathroom. I'm at the USO at LAX. So if there's an echo, they got me in a quiet chamber because they don't want us out there, doing the show and people are hearing what we're talking about and stuff. Yeah, a lot of white people in here. Remember, the military is a form of slavery, the way it's set up. So
you better be on your best behavior, brother.
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot of Karens here, so believe that.
Yeah. All right, so let me get to these other comments here. And Eric says, I really had respect for Ciara, but she was encouraging that behavior. And Robbie says, disgusting. Hey, Dewan, how you doing? Gloria says, why do you think they gave us hip-hop crap? All of us Black people are not about that ish. I totally agree with you. And Robbie says, there's no defense for this madness. And Anastasia, you say, have mercy. And let me see here. All my comments jumped up. Pioneer says, now the situation in Texas where the woman started twerking on the chairs against the windows in that Black man's restaurant was inappropriate because it was unsanitary and children were probably there. Yeah, children. And People who just went out for a nice dinner and they hear this funky stuff come.
Well, I got a question for you, Demetra. You know, since you represent Black women and good Black women, by the way, and it says right here for a good time. No, anyway. No, but let me ask you this, because notice we're talking about Black women that are doing this, Black women are doing that. When was the last time you saw a white woman twerking in a restaurant? When was the last time you saw an Asian do it?
I haven't seen personally.
Right. I'm not saying that they don't do it, but I'm saying any incidences.
I'm saying personally, I haven't seen anybody personally like been in a restaurant, seen anybody do it. However, to your point, I haven't seen it. Not again, you're not saying it. I'm not saying they don't do it. I just have not seen it. But again, you know, the record industries and, you know, all those things, they don't give that type of stuff to their women to do. You know, it's rare. Like, even I was telling my daughter this morning. I said, even Madonna at her raunchiest was not as raunchy as they are now. And Madonna was supposed to be like, you know, I guess a modern trendsetter in the 80s where people were clutching their pearls and stuff. But she wasn't even that raunchy. You know, she's a white woman, you know, I don't know. And AJ says, yep, I saw that, right. Me and my guy was talking about that, shaking my head. And Smoke Town for Life, how you doing? He says, Miss Tina was twerking. No, she wasn't twerking. She just made a cameo in the video. But I just thought, like, why? You know, why? She's got to be in her 60s, I would imagine, right? And Sunlight says, why does degeneracy, I can read, degeneracy, get so much clout from us? I can't remember the last time I saw an example of a classy Black woman trend, not even among us.
Well, wait a minute. Well, I have to disagree with that. Aunt Maxine said the audacity of WAP. Wasn't she in that video? Wasn't she?
No, she was not in that damn video.
No, I'm about the other video prior to this one. She was in somebody's video.
She was on, I think, at the Grammys or whatever.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
Maxine is what, 80 something?
83 years old and counting.
What happened to the mamas and the grandmamas in the community? It'd be like, baby, what we not gonna do? And what I need you to go do is put a slip on. You know, like my grandmama was. I don't care if you was wearing a burlap sack dress to church. You're putting a slip on. You know. And I says, Demetra, let your modesty glow. Yeah, and we all should, right? And Fine for Black, how you doing? It says, Queen Demetra, you can look on Yahoo's page and see the over 55-year-old crowd in string bikinis and thongs. Sexy is elegance. I love to see a professional woman dressed first. Let me imagine the rest. Yes, that's what, you know, I was taught coming up, you know, by my father, who is, you know, a Muslim. He says, you know, everybody shouldn't see what your man sees. That's for you. No, the world don't need to be all up under your clothes and see everything you got. So I learned that from a very, you know, early age.
But you notice that Demetra, who always talks about me in my Speedos, and it was cold that day when I got into the water. We were in Costa Rica. She was lounging all on the beach.
I was fully clothed too.
Well, wait, until you showed the drumsticks. You had to show the drumsticks.
I mean, I had some shorts on, but I'm not a bathing suit person, y'all. I just feel like I'm naked out there if I had on a bathing suit. I'm just weird like that. So, and Anastasia says, daughter, grandma, and great grandma all twerking together in the same club. Those days of separation is over. Yeah, you ain't lying. They all, let's go to the club, child. All at the club together. I bumped into the club. It was not really a club. It was a place for adults. It was called The Place. And my friend and I, we were kind of club hopping. It was like, well, let's go on over to the place. I saw my mom and her friend in there, and I was like, okay, yeah, one of us has got to leave. And since she was here first, it's going to be me. But it was an older club, you know, where they play cards and that kind of stuff. But yeah, we didn't stay and hang out. And hello, Brotham, how you doing? And April, if I didn't already, hello. He says, I just have had it with these artists, quote unquote. I don't follow them mainly because I'm aware that the whoredom is real. Yeah, and it's calculated. It's by design. And my daughter was talking about that's like, when are people really going to realize this? All the stuff that they, and I say they, are putting out there for Black people, as far as music, entertainment, when are we going to realize this is really by design, and it's to captivate our minds and keep us thinking in our lower desires, and so we can't elevate or evolve? Julius, how you doing? Says, we have lost so much respect for ourselves. The women defend this because the men lust after this. That is a good point as well. There's an audience for that somewhere, right? So, not all men, but there's a good amount of men who like that. And, in some cases, a lot of cases, make that the missus. They wife that type of woman up, and then they're butt hurt when they find out that's all she can bring to the table is a big butt and some twerking. AJ says, yeah, he got his wake-up call yesterday talking about Larry Eldridge. We're going to talk about it. And Ronnie, how you doing? He says, but they do. But do they or don't they identify with Sarah Bartman, who was forced to be explicit and exploited? I always ask. You know what? I just doubt that they even really know about her. Because if they did, maybe they would say, you know what? Like you said, she was forced. She was forced to do that. And horrible things happened to her. She's put on display, and yet they're willingly doing it. Sarah didn't want to do that, but here they are willingly doing that. It's like, for what? My God. And Facts Not Feeling says, lots of sisters are selfish. They don't twerk for their husband or men in private, but for strangers. Yeah, that I don't understand that at all. But I think the bigger picture too is, some people are just so starved for attention to where they'll do anything to get it, right? And Julia, she says, we have lost so much respect for ourselves. Yes, indeed. And you also say, we have lost so much respect for ourselves. The women defend this behavior because of the men lust after this. Okay, so you put it twice. And AJ says, hey, Donovan. And Sunlight says, coming from a Janet Jackson fanatic, all three of the women are big fans of hers. I never seen Janet behaving like that in public. Well, Janet Jackson does have a very, usually on the stage, she'll bring somebody up there, she'll tie them up, and she'll, do a very sexy dance, but it's a concert, right? And so, you actually pay to go see that. But yeah, and Janet is very sexual per se, but yeah, I can't recall seeing her, just at a restaurant or anywhere, just bending her butt over twerking, right? And the Pioneer says, Brother D, where are you posting from? Okay, so you told him. And Fight for Black says, exactly, Donovan, keep your butt out of my mashed potatoes. AJ says, I agree. And Ronnie, he says, it's true in American English culture, women give mixed signals. Yes. And April says, how long is your weave and fingernails is all that matters. Laugh out loud. Right. There's so much more to it than that. Right. And AJ says, yep, I see a pattern too. And NIE says HBCUs for blacks. He says for Black P, 5-letter kitty cat power. And Robin says, right, you can't be sexy without being vulgar. Twerking in a restaurant, not a club or dance hall, but a restaurant. Make it make sense. But it's Ciara, some want to condone it. Right. Yeah, I mean, and yeah, she's married. I don't know anything about Russell. I mean, he seems to be a pretty good dude. I don't know. But people are saying, well, she's married to Russell and they're classy and this, that, and the other. I just imagine the conversation they had when she got home or when she got back to him. I know he was probably like, is you serious? You are a whole wife and a mother out in these streets. And you are the older woman amongst that trio, and you thought that was something. I mean, like, how embarrassing, right? Because when you do that, that's a reflection on your man as well. You don't have any respect for him. The first thing that went to my mind is like, nah, for one, I don't want to embarrass my man or me, or my man, right? But I don't know. And
but again, real quick, this goes back to not aging gracefully and letting these young people do what they do. Like, I'm in my 50s. When I see another woman that's 50, 60 years old with purple and pink hair and all that other stuff, It's like you had your day. That's what young people do. And so how are they going to respect you if you're out there with them, with your funky, stinky, wrinkled ass, trying to have a hot girl summer? Demetra, what do I always say? There's something wrong when a kid says, the grandchild says, well, I'm going to go over to grandmother and her boyfriend's house. There's something wrong with that.
Stop it. All right, so I'm behind in these comments, so let me get to it. And Robin says it's still discussion. And thank you, Marcus. If you guys are on Facebook and you are watching this from anywhere else, click on the link, and I would love to read your comments if you have one. And Leo, son, how you doing? He says, I've seen the dances they reference in Africa. It was not like twerking at all. Okay. Walter, how you doing? He says, baby mama number 9. And who is you talking about Future and Ciara? And Ronnie, he says, I would have asked those women that justify twerking, did they trace their ancestry to that particular tribe? Good question. Pioneer says, Brother Donovan, talk about HBCUs. When stopped by to visit Morehouse back in 2010, I saw so many male students dressed up like women. It happened so much. The president of the Morehouse tried to ban it. Yeah, I remember that. He was like, not on this campus. And people got mad, right? Demetrius, how you doing? And you also say, I'm at HBCU right now. What's going on? I just got here. So, yeah, we're just having a conversation. And Donovan wanted to bring up HBCUs. And Easy D, how you doing? And Kevin, how you doing? He says, hello, family. I predicted that the conduct that you suffered under would only get worse when the government created laws to protect sexual orientation and preference. When the government gets in the business of authorizing homosexual conduct as protected, then such conduct is predictable. And I am not saying homosexuality is wrong or right. I'm saying that the government should never have made homosexual conduct protection laws, and it's going to get worse, in my opinion and belief. And your comment cut off. Well,
amen. You know, they made those laws to protect them, and they also made better laws to protect animals and cats and dogs and all that other stuff. They're more so protected than Black people. Isn't that something?
Well, I will say this. I don't disagree with that. They should. I think they should have protection because, you know, whether we like it or not, the people do target gay people, the LGBT community, for them being that, and they shouldn't be targeted. I don't think people should be harmed for being who they are. I think people really should mind their business, and if you don't like it, just keep on rolling. You know what I mean? So I think they should be protected. And Walter, you say white women perfected the twerk. Where? Where did they perfect this twerk? Ironing boards, twerking? I'm just kidding. And Brotham says they don't know how to do it. And Robin says, never. We only see Black women doing it. Walter says, go to TikTok. Oh, you'll see it. Yeah. Well, they try to, you know, on TikTok, they've tried to steal a lot of the content from Black creators and all of that and make it their own, but perfected it? I don't know. And Pioneer says, I'm very analytical in my thought process. I'm not fond of blanket condemnation. In my opinion, twerking in of itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. It depends on who is doing it and where they're doing it. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, but I just, you know, when kids are around and, you know, you're at a restaurant, I don't think, or you're out in public, as my mom again was saying, mixed company, I don't think that's the time and place to do it. It is a very vulgar dance. And it, to me, it's nasty. That's just me. Some people like it. I think it's nasty.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say the girl is twerking and then the guy jumps on her booty and they start dancing in a way that looks very sexual. What's wrong with that?
Well, then that's when you're having a problem, right? It's sexual harassment, and it is if she don't like it, you know.
Right. But what I'm saying is the visual of it, it doesn't look good for either party involved.
I agree. I would never even try to justify it. And Anastasia says, no, there are truly African dances that resemble this. Twerking shows similarities to several traditional West African dances, most notably Mapuka and the mud boot dance, South Africa, which resembles stepping. Yes, okay. And Facts Not Feeling says, I missed that scissoring everybody's talking about. Yeah, it was on one of those award shows, and it was like, for real? And
yeah, I think it was on the Grammys. That's what it was. Because that's when the white folks were like, "Oh, clutch my pearls! What are these people doing?"
Yeah, you know, and I'm with them. You know, like what's really going on here? What can we expect the next time around? You know. And Eric, how you doing? It says twerking bones. Sit down. I hope older people are not doing this, but we are in 2021. Oh yeah, you got grannies out there doing it. It's all age groups doing it. I mean, I've even seen people post videos of their babies twerking. It's like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, the baby can twerk but can't recite its ABCs.
Okay, horrible. Hey, Donald, how you doing? He says, hey, y'all. I'm glad Donovan doing show remotely. Yes, indeed, before he takes off. And Anastasia says the Chloe song was called Have Mercy. Yes. Oh, okay, Have Mercy. That's the name of the song. Yes. I mean, I think her and her sister are very talented. Her sister's going to do the Mermaid, the live version. That's where she's at now. But it's like, yeah, so much talent. Why go that route? You know, there's so many other things you could be doing, I would guess. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this, Demetra. Why is it that in our culture, we bow to the lowest denominator rather than to the highest denominator?
Right. And Evan, how you doing? He says, this stream came up when I searched I love you in Japanese. Okay, well, maybe we're connected somehow. But anyway, welcome. And April says, over that money, and she still hasn't done a darn thing. And Terry, how you doing? He says, I don't think they even know what a slip is anymore. Right? Do they even sell them? Hey, Demetrius, how you doing? You know, you're right on time. And Evan, I see you put whatever it was in Japanese. Okay. I don't know why. And Robin says, like I said, some black men condone it. Depending on who's doing it, the twerking make that ish make sense. Yeah. Yeah, right. Like when Lizzo do it, it's like, oh my God. Right. You know, but twerking is twerking, right? I'm just saying. Sunlight says, what happened is the same thing that happened to Monique. Not even black women can tell these pros nothing. Yeah, and it's unfortunate. We should be able to take some advice. April says those days are long gone. The whoredom is real. Yeah, it's normal now. You know, it's like I said, I couldn't imagine being a kid, even in my 20s, seeing that on the Grammys or anywhere on national TV. I would be horrified. But now it's just normal, right? Like every new video, especially for the most part by these female artists that come out, it's the same thing. They talking about, you know, under the clothes and they, you know, twerking and just it's a lot. It's like, all right.
Yeah, well, wasn't there what's her name, Michelle Kaye? She was talking all that stuff or singing, you know, trying to be ghetto thottish, and you know, she got the booty injections or whatever she did, and then I guess another rapper, whoever she was dating, came out and said that her stuff wasn't all that fresh or something. You know what I mean? And then it becomes another. It just becomes. It's like in the record industry, Beef sells records. NWA, Ice Cube leaves, Dr. Dre leaves, you know, it just sells records, and it's like, this is how they do. And then they, you know, oh, I'm a victim because I gave him some, but now he's talking about my vajayjay, and it just.
Hello, Thunder. And AJ says, hey, Donovan, right, I learned that from my parents to be modest. They are Christian, but I'm not anymore. But yeah, those are still values that you kept. Terry says, I became done with this conversation when my friend told me that a topless stripper is a modest woman. I knew then I was too far removed from the conversation. Yeah, but that's the kind of stuff that's being justified out there. Oh, you guys are old. Y'all need to learn to live. This is not the 1950s. Yeah. 1950s anymore.
Yeah, I was watching Judge Faith, and they had this guy who married this girl he knew that was a stripper. And that became a problem when he wanted her to stop stripping. She's like, oh no, this is how I make my money. This is what I do. That he didn't have a problem with it when we were dating. It's like, when did becoming a stripper was something to aspire to?
Well, you know, they do be making a lot of money now. I'm just putting that out.
This is true. And I'm a known supporter of single mothers. Everybody knows that. Okay. So.
Well, there you have it. Pioneer says, if I may be so bold, we can't have it both ways. We can't complain about our women being too sexualized, but when brothers go chasing after more loose, quote unquote, white women for sex, complain about that too. I mean, I think we can complain about it because I think we, black women used to be the standard. And I remember my father talking about that years ago. He says, my dad is 77. He says, I don't remember, black women as you say, talking all up under their clothes and, wearing such things. He says, the pants be all the way up. You can see all, he says that was almost unheard of. Black women were the standard, and now we are just, not all of us, but I'm just saying in general, we are like gutter with a lot, like things that our ancestors would never do.
Right. Well, remember when we were growing up, even some of the TV shows, What's Happening, Raj's mom, she was a big lady, but she carried herself, as a standard of like, she was big, but she was still beautiful and still the way she carried herself. Florida Evans, the way she carried herself, the way she dressed. Wheezy, these are all Norman Lear productions, by the way. Wheezy from the Jeffersons, elegant. Thick woman, elegant, doing her thing.
Claire Huxtable.
Right,
Mm-hmm. And Terry says, I tried to find a slip years ago and no dice. I only wear pants now. Yeah, you probably not gonna find no slip. I don't even know if they make them anymore.
Are girls even wearing bras now? These younger girls, I see so many younger girls running around with black eyes. It's ridiculous.
You stupid. April says, OnlyFans millionaires are on the rise, so it's definitely an audience for the foolishness. Yes, indeed. And Julia says, queens don't twerk for the world to see. You ain't lying. AJ say that was so hilarious. And the Pioneer says, analytical thought again. I have an issue with the agenda to push the alphabet soup on our community, but pushing old-fashioned man and woman sex is okay. In my opinion, some are complaining about that. I don't want to see it from nobody. Keep that in your bedroom. I don't want to know what you do in your bedroom. I don't care what your sexual orientation is. I just think that should be between the people who are doing it. But I think we've gotten so comfortable with just having, these conversations we really shouldn't be having. I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about, sex and sexuality, but I think we have gotten so loose with our conversation that we don't even know where the line is anymore. I'm just saying.
But does this come from the fact that we grew up in a generation where don't tell him nothing, girl, don't say nothing, just let him.
There's a difference between you not needing to know my body count and a difference between me, just, all up on face. Like, we all seen somebody on social media tell you about their night the night before, and like, why do we need to know that? That should be between you. You know what I mean? And Robert says, right, can twerk, but can't cook or clean, but these be the females that men wife up. Now, you ain't lying. They love it. They complain about it, but they love it. Farrakhan, he had a video. He says, instead of shaking your behind, why don't you get in the kitchen and rattle some eggs in the pan? Learn how to do something like that. That's what's most valuable, to keeping a family together. You shaking your butt is not, and Anastasia says, my mom always told me, don't embarrass me in front of these white folks, quote unquote. That always in my head. Yeah, I think we've all heard that from somebody one way or the other. But, that's because when they was said, they saw white people as the, like the deity. You absolutely cannot act like that in front of them. But it's like, well, what about us? We don't want to see it either.
Yeah, and Terry, I'm gonna give you some advice real quick. When I was married, my wife was a 6'1", thick woman, whatever the deal is, and she used to get her slips in the modern time. And I'm not trying to be disparaging, but what are those stores they have for the big women?
Torrid and all that. Lane Bryant.
Yeah, Lane Bryant, but she didn't go there. It was like, if you go to one of the for the bigger girl stores, you can get slips in there. She used to get slips in there all the time.
Cool. Well, thanks for that, Donovan. And Terry says we have a Kohl's in Butler, Pennsylvania, and actually going to look. I have some beautiful suits and dresses I inherited from my aunt. I haven't worn because I'm not comfortable with going without a slip. Yeah, and some of the clothing they do make see-through. And Thunder says there was a club for, and if I didn't already, hello, there was a club for the grown folks where they played blues, jazz, soul, funk, zydeco. And it was always some old school guy in the back barbecuing in the back, and Domino's game was going on. Oh yeah, good times. Yeah, that's the kind of club my mom was at. And I was like, yeah, I better head out. And Pioneer says, oh shoot, I lost my place. Let's see. I'm behind. Let me catch up to these comments really quick. You say, if I could find it. Ooh. Damn. Okay, for real, I'm finna catch up, y'all. Okay, it says sex sales always have women twerk because most heterosexual men love it, even if they don't admit it. Many men don't feel like arguing with women and just act like they are outraged too, but not And Clifford, how you doing? He says, this is the fallout from the 90s rap that degraded Black woman. Okay, yeah, I would say the 90s is when it really started to, because MC Light and them didn't do all that. And Sunlight says, Demetra K, exactly. Janet does the sexual stuff in a performance, i.e. an appropriate setting, never in public at random events. Oh, no. And Robbie said, exactly, a whole married woman, talking about Ciara. And Ronnie, you say, the American flag is the need and want to prioritize instant gratification. We live where braggadocious becomes narcissistic. And Pioneer says, as I said earlier, it depends on who is twerking. If you are made funny and have a funny made sponge shape, damn, but that doesn't move when you twerk. You have no business out there twerking. Lord have mercy. AJ says, right, same here. It's so disrespectful. And Robin says, exactly. Donovan and Clifford says, extended adolescence. Good point. Kevin says, men and women are competing now for everything. And as strange as it may sound, it is planned avenue to keep people divided. Corporations rule that what people desire, and we want it because they are buying it all. Yes, indeed. And Moni, how you doing? It says 433. How you doing, Donovan and Demetra? Demetra, did you see my videos? What did you think? Let me know. I hope you're having a wonderful, blessed Friday. Much Detroit love to you both. Yes, I saw them, and I'll tell you what I thought about it as soon as I get done with this. And April says homosexuality is a new trend. Laugh out loud. I think it's always been around. And NIE says Ciara is about to be 36. We have to come up higher. Yes, I mean, damn, embarking on 40 and still doing that. Sacks up your life. How you doing? Long time no see. You say safe travels, Donovan. Hi, Demetra. And Terry says that's exactly what I say, Donovan. I usually say it to kids who call me boomer, quote unquote. I had my day and did my thing. I'm good with turning 50. I want to get much older. I don't even dye my hair at all. Same here. And Thunder says, and the best part about hanging around the old schools, if you listen, they will put you up on so much gaming. And if you just listen to the music alone, you will learn about the world and life. Yeah, and some things that you didn't even know existed, right? Pioneer says, also, Black people are more sensual and sexual than Caucasian by nature. Public sensuality is a part of our culture and genetics. Look at Latin American cultures and how they dance and dress. Very sexy. Yeah, but I think there's a line, right? And I think the line has been crossed. And Kevin says, you are right. Terry says, lies before you. He says, white people, funny. He says, don't have the ability to perfect, quote unquote, something our bodies do naturally. I just don't think we should do it everywhere. Good point. And Robin says, exactly, Demetra. And the Pioneer says, exactly, Queen. If children are around or at a restaurant only for eating, twerking is inappropriate. But if it's nightclub type dinner with alcohol served and no children, it should be okay. I don't know about that either. And Leo Son said, what puts my panties in a bunch, quote unquote, is that Black women get put on sexual display in videos, media, and judged negatively, and people who don't look like us profit from most of it. Now, you said a word right there. And Moni says, with no protection whatsoever, Demetra, some people are afraid to speak up about this. You should not be afraid to speak on what God himself does not condone. You will put Asians' rights. What about Black rights? Well, that's our fault because we haven't demanded it, right? And Shamita, how you doing? He says, exactly. There is a time and a place for everything. However, with that was totally inappropriate. Yes, indeed. The Pioneer says, well, to your question, Brother Don, if a man gets up and starts putting hands on a woman, but before getting her permission, that's inappropriate, regardless as to what she's doing.
Okay, wait. If it was an African dance, as they do, when the Africans dance, there's a meaning to it. The way they move their legs and all this other stuff, like they're saying, oh, it's a cultural thing and it has a story and it tells a story, right? What if the story says, let me go tap that ass right now?
Yeah, you might not want to do that.
Okay.
And Natia, how you doing? He says, or colors. And Leo Son says, Chloe has way too much talent for that. Yes, indeed. And Kevin says, all African dancing has been bastardized by the Western culture. Africans born in America hold knowledge as power. Doing whatever others do is not the same as knowledge. Agreed.
That's my point right there.
And Morning says, much Detroit love to you, the Pioneer. And X, how you doing? Says, dang, A for Unc. A is for Unc. Let's reclaim our natural gifts that our ancestors passed down to us. Yeah, and let's not abuse them and distort them into something that's not supposed to be, right? And the TA says, just to say they're doing something. And NIE says, women don't wear dresses like that anymore. Some do. You know, I try to wear dresses as much as I can. And Shamita said, as for Ciara, that's disappointing to see because she's married to Russell Wilson, and that's so disrespectful. Yeah.
You can take the ghetto. You can take the girl out the ghetto. What's that saying? Take the girl out the ghetto, but
girl.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Keziah, how you doing? You say shalom, beloved royal family, black first. Yes, indeed. And the pioneer said, Brother Don, you say, why bow to the lowest denominator? But who said sex and sexuality was the lowest denominator? Who taught us that sex was evil and nasty? It's the method that life is brought in. Right.
No. The lowest denominator is not the sexual and the sexual nature of what is going on. The lowest denominator is always appealing to the lowest sea urchin part of our culture. Just like Brother Phil says, there are some people we need to completely separate. Just like Marcus Garvey said, they're no good here. They're definitely going to be no good there. But in our culture, the American Black culture, we seem to always appeal to our lowest denominator of our culture. And I can never understand it.
Yep, I agree. And that gets the most attention, right? And Mona says, when it comes to ancestral dance, some of them is more in ritual and spell purpose. Caucasians that mimic it don't know the real meaning and behind it. And I say she really stopped with all of it by all means. Deadshot, how you doing? In excess, Salamta. I know I said that wrong. 400 million. And Thunder says the old school folks carried themselves with a certain level of dignity and class, and even the poorest family still had a Sunday dress suit and dress. Yes, indeed, you better believe it. And Robin says over sexualized. And Airborne, how you doing? He says, I'm concerned that our girls and young women see this disgusting behavior, especially if they don't have a role model at home as far as their mom, right, their grandma. They think that's acceptable, and I think that's very unfortunate. And he says women don't wear dresses to wear a slip. I'm just saying, okay. And Evan says, I'm pretty sure that twerking by definition is considered a sexual act. I mean, it looks sexual to me. Maybe, I don't know, Evan, maybe man, you got it wrong, but it looks like something sexual to me. I don't know. Sunlight says, Donovan, exactly the lowest denominator, Angela Bassett, Felicia Rashad, etc. They're my representatives, definitely not Megan Thee Stallion. Again, how often are those women trending? Right. The last time Felicia was trending was when she stuck up for Bill Cosby and people got mad. And Anastasia says, we got to look at it. The men are promoting thought, stripper lifestyle, and they're winning. So, of course, regular women are going to want to imitate that. People are going to follow who's winning, thugs and thoughts.
But okay, here's my question though, Anastasia, and I agree with what you're saying in that aspect. They can promote it, but who is actually doing it? If women would stop letting themselves be objectified and sexualized, then there's no way for men to promote it.
And I say this too. I mean, I don't care what men like. I'm not going to allow that to make me think that I should be doing that, because that wouldn't be the man I want to be with anyway. If he thinks that makes me pleasing to him, the only thing that makes me pleasing anyway. Pioneer says, well, as I said earlier, we can't have it both ways. We can't condemn Black women for being sexy and sensual, but when Black men go after white women for it, get mad at them for running at loose white girls. I mean, well, I'm trying to. Because I read it the first time you said it, and I'm trying to make that correlate in my mind. I don't know if anybody should get mad at people's personal choices. And I don't see what one thing has to do with another. I mean, if you got a propensity for white girls, you're going to do that whether she ain't twerking or not, So I guess I'm trying to make it make sense. And Moni says, but if you got a lot of behind, to me, you and yours is not flat. Then if you twerk and it was at a club with yourself and your friends or family, that would be one thing. Food table around kids ever. Yeah, I mean, if you're at a club, that's, I guess, where you do it, right? Airborne, you say sick. And Terry says, I'm done with Donovan. Single moms appreciate that support, I'm sure. He ain't got no sense. And Mona says, Donovan, I hope you have a wonderful fun on your trip. Please let us see some of your films as you're down there. When will you be traveling back?
If everything goes right, they'll lock me out of the country because everybody here will be getting COVID and I will be safe over there. Okay, so.
But will they be safe with you over there? And Thunder says, look at how they dress back then, and they accomplished the civil rights movement. Look at how we dress now and what we have accomplished for ourselves in the last 40 years. That is a good point.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But Thunder, also remember though, it's the civil rights era people that have driven us to where we're at today, not in regards to entertainment. I'm talking about in us not moving forward. It's like we stopped moving forward. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from it. I want you guys to think that, but I think we give them too much credit when it comes down to where we're at today, as in far as in moving the ball forward. They won't give up the baton. It's like we're in a race and you're supposed to give the baton to the next person. They won't give us the baton, even though we're running.
Well, yeah, so in regards to politics and stuff like that, I agree. But yeah, at least even then when they were marching, they had on some dresses and, gloves and all of that. And so, yes, Clifford says Mabel King, yes, Raj and them's mom, right? But Ron, how you doing? It says Nell Carter was thick and classy too. Yeah, I never saw her do anything like that. R.I.P. to her. And James, how you doing? It says not just a twerking 20-year-old getting fake ass, some of them big and sloppy, like he said D lineman. Wow. He says like the women in the DR trying to board the plane. What happened in 5 to 10 years? No ambition, no discipline, no knowledge of self. Yeah,
James, you forgot the bat wings on the eyes. You forgot that. Even the older women are starting to do that. And I'm looking at these people like, are you serious? It's just, I don't see how they can see something that looks way out here. They think that looks normal.
Yeah. I mean, eyelashes have been around forever. Now the stuff that we're seeing now, maybe not so much. It was more natural, back in the day. But yeah, the fake butts and stuff, every day I see one. I don't care where I'm at, the store, the gym, just out and about. I see one, the mall, definitely. I think one day, though, like I said, 5 to 10 years, people are going to be like, what did I do to myself, right?
Which a lot of people are starting to regret. And I never thought I'd see the day where a sister had to go get a butt job. Because either the one thing about you sisters was either you had a butt or you had, like my friend Shamita used to tell me, you got bumpers in the front or you got them in the back. It's one or the other. And you could rock either way you went and you handled your business. But these women are getting plastic surgery. Tamar Braxton, did you guys see her recently? Looks like she got something done to her face. She looks like a totally different person.
They all look the same to me, if you ask me. And Robin, you say, right, and Art, how you doing? And X, thank you for that. He says, Queen Demetra is a queen. I appreciate that. And Mr. D's News, how you doing? He says, Florida was wearing that orange dress all the time. Yes, Florida from good times. But she was dressed, though, right? You couldn't see none of her business. And Evan says, I think people are going to do what they do, especially teenagers. Times change and so do traditions. Things that were once taboo became normal. I don't think there is much you can do to stop it. Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree, Evan, because here it is. I've seen 15 and 13-year-old teenagers with tattoos. That is against the law. The parents,
moms are
no. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, though, what parent would allow that to go on? Maybe some do, but again, appealing to our lowest denominators, because we know, when you tattoo yourself, especially what these kids are doing now, since they're going to do what they're going to do, they're tattooing their face and putting it all over here and making themselves unemployable. And I'm not talking about working at Popeyes. I'm talking about if you really want to make some good money, like working at a bank. And some of these kids are so smart, they can work on Wall Street. They can make six figures some of them coming out of high school. But how are you going to go work for Wells Fargo and you look like that and sit in a boardroom?
And Anastasia says, are winning pimps in the 70s, androgynous in the 80s, dancers in the 90s, thugs and gangsters and drug dealers in the 2000s. And AJ says, me neither. That's their business. Sunlight says, Donovan, the anomaly. Saadiq, I'm giving you a new nickname. Yes, she says, you're rare. And Angela, how you doing? He says, thank you at the Pioneer. He says, black men complain that black women were rigid and celebrated white women for being sexually liberated. Punk her into what we have today. Yeah, I mean, just because you didn't see black women sexually liberated in public don't mean she was that way in private. I mean, hell, how the hell did they have 20 kids, between them? She was sexually liberated at least 20 times, right? So, and Keziah, you say, we're too busy trying to spare and coddle feelings. Yep, we don't want to, step on people's toes and all of that. Kevin says, I'm still more likely to desire a modest woman over one that is less modest. Modesty is so sexy to me, even in my youth. Hell, I married the woman that wouldn't let me grind on her. We were 17 and 18. So how much does age have to do with it? Well, you know, I think people like imagination. You know, I've always heard that men will hang around with the loose woman, but they damn sure ain't gonna wife her. You know, she is there for that purpose, right?
So what do I always say? What do I always say about the women I love?
I love the ratchet.
I love ratchet women. I love them. You have fun with them. You do what you do with them. But I ain't wifing that chick up. I'm not gonna do it.
Shame on you. And the partner says, I agree with you again, sis, that our girls should learn to cook and maintain a home. That's what the minister has been teaching our people. However, I wouldn't want women to be forced into that role. Yeah, I mean, she just has to, you know, we have to continue to teach our girls that. And we don't teach that overall like our parents did, right? Or our grandparents. And Thunder says, yes, those television women were the epitome of class. And the main reason why they were is because they were feminine and conducted themselves as ladies, quote unquote. And AJ says, cooking is important. I cook for my guy all the time. I love to cook. I go to Macy's to get my slips and bras. Okay, I have to check it out. And Terry says, thanks, Donovan. That'll work too. Robin says, loose standards. And Moni says, as I was saying, to meet you somebody like Lizzo, to see it based on how her physique is, you would say, hell no. But a woman that's got a beautiful physique, small back, small waist, round behind, very nice hips. Okay. And excess King, Donovan and Malcolm. How you doing? He says, I see Donovan likes him on the thick side. Yeah.
Well, the thing is too, Moni, you have a lot of big girls like Lizzo, right? They're out there. We know a lot of women are, you know, in our communities big and stuff like that. They're having children. So it isn't like they're not getting theirs too.
Yes, indeed. And the pioneer says, this is why we as a people need to get together and have conventions around the nation to establish our values as Afro-Americans. Too many of us differ on what is right, wrong, acceptable, or not. And Moni says, okay, Donovan, you support single mothers, but can you support a single woman with no kids that might be dancing to cover her rent, maybe cover her education costs, make it make sense?
Well, me personally, yes, I could do that. And of course, you know, she's going to earn every penny of
Robin says, can't cook or clean, but be mad when the husband goes to the side chick's house to eat breakfast, lunch, and supper. Yeah, you don't want to have that happen. And Kevin says, white Americans sexualize everything that Africans do. Pioneer says, many have commented on the age of the women twerking. The society still haven't come to an accept that many older women still like sex. The thought of a woman over 40 having sex disgusts some people. Well, why does that even need to be talked about? Like, you know, I don't think you as a woman or a man or 40 or 50, 20, however, should be saying, hey, I still like sex. That's really should be between you and whoever you're having sex with, I would think.
Right. And you would think in this society, how many of us were 10 years old and we see our parents kiss and we thought it was disgusting?
Right.
And we did. We're like, ugh.
AJ said there's a dance called the I tight. I know I said that wrong. A tighty says it's popular dance from my dad's country, Nigeria. You move your legs and waist. I do this dance when I dance with my guy. Okay. And Pioneer says again, people are
wait. Dance with your guy. I haven't been over there.
Stop it.
Okay. All right.
And the Pioneer says again, people are complaining about Black women being sexualized as if white and Asian and Latino women aren't. Keep it real. Women of all races are sexualized. We talk about Black women though. We talking about Black women. You know, we ain't talking about them. We talking about us. But Black women, I don't care what you say, are more sexualized than any other woman on this planet. Black women are looked at from everybody as a sexual object, and we play into that as well, unfortunately, right? And Lauren says, I think Chloe is trying to get attention because Halle is getting so many opportunities. That could be the case too. You also say Ciara, great value, Aaliyah. Wow. So she's a low budget Aaliyah, huh? Pioneer says, Donovan, in most African dances everywhere in the village or community are participating. So it's understood that touching each other is a part of the dance. That's different than a club full of strangers. Very true. Facts Not Feeling says, when society does not put restrictions on women's public behavior, that society will fail. Yes, and Laurent says, we can't forget how Caribbean culture has contributed to over-sexualized twerk culture, okay? Pioneer says, I agree with you, Donovan and Brother Phil, if he said that we need to separate from those who only engage in lowest denominators. However, in my opinion, violence is the lowest, not sexuality. Yeah, that's a good point. And Keziah, you say it doesn't matter what other races of women do with their bodies. We are truly royalty set apart, special above all, be different, not equal to other nations. And I'm glad you said that perfectly. Parents, how you doing? Say that's real. And Robin says some people just have twisted mentalities trying to condone this mess. No matter what they say, it's still going to come off as twisted, over-sexualized sexual deviance. And Pioneer says, Brother Don, I'm impressed. You're keeping up with the conversation pretty good, posting from that bathroom stall, laugh out loud. I was concerned it may be too awkward for you to really keep up with it, laugh out loud. Now, Donovan can definitely multitask. And Keziah says, I don't wear pants or shorts at all. I only wear modest dresses. I have a daughter. I have to be an example for her. Show her that you don't have to show your body to be beautiful. Absolutely. And I love it because our ancestors, grandparents, even our parents, right? They didn't have to do those things. You know a sexy woman when you see her without her having to show you all her business. And the Pioneer says, okay, Queen, I'll try to break it down over several posts. Okay, it says not all, but a lot. Black women have low self-esteem because they've been told they aren't as attractive as white girls. So many of them dress. Okay, so I'll get the rest of that. And Moni says, I think my favorite TV show, Demetra, I don't know if you ever got into it, was the Colby's and Dynasty. And I got a lot of my fashion ideas from that. And that's why I love various expensive clothing. Dynasty, I've seen it a couple times. I didn't watch the Colby's, but my grandma, she was into that, and then Dallas and all of that. Terry says, not bat wings, laugh out loud, Mr. Snuffleupagus. That's what it looks like. Thunder says, hard times create hard men. Hard men make good times make soft men. Soft men create hard times. This is us in a nutshell. The civil rights generation created good times for us, and we got soft. Very good point. Pioneer says, many of our sisters dress sexy and act sexy to get attention from men, to get the love and admiration they desire. Most women naturally desire this, whether they admit it or not. This goes beyond religion. Yeah, I think most women, and men too, but women like to be desired. We like to be looked at as sexy. But I think there's a line between sexy and raunchy. As a man, do you want a woman that's raunchy, or do you want a woman that's sexy? Kevin says, I'm going to be honest. The only thing that I think when I see an attractive Black woman twerking, no disrespect intended, is she would do that. If she would do that while sexing me, would be great. That's it. Yeah, I think that's probably a natural response or thought process for a lot of men. And NIE says all the Braxtons are robbing Tony's face. Yeah, they all look alike. Normani says, I agree with the Pioneer. Uh-oh, I lost my place. Let's see here. He says, I agree with the Pioneer. It isn't about what one person likes or dislikes. I don't like the fact of seeing your moralness. You can't even see just a simple man or a woman any longer. Alphabet or gender overload. Okay. In fact, Not Feeling says the power of the media is what allows a woman to get nasty plastic surgery to enlarge their butts. Yeah, to me, it's just like, it don't even look real. It looks very awkward. And Terry says, you'd be surprised in the 90s, the parenting classes at the time was trying to get away from spanking and taught people to be more friends with their children. And that's what they did. Yes, I remember that. People, even went to jail, right, for physically disciplining their children. And Robin, you say, true. And Mr. D, he said, I agree, Donovan, we have to stop accepting the lowest denominator. And Terry says, now we have parents who are more like friends with their children. Yep. And then they can't understand why they won't respect them or their authority. And Pioneer says, and when men are no longer paying attention to conservatively dressed Black women and focus on the half-naked white women, guess what? Black women will start complaining again about not getting attention. But again, Pioneer, I'm gonna have to push back a little bit. A Black man worth his weight is not going to be drawn to a white woman half dressed and acting in a deplorable manner. He's not going to choose that over his Black woman. I'm sorry. I just cannot see a Black man worth his weight, choosing that. And Evan says, if tattoos, piercing, etc. cause that much harm to someone's future job, it will most likely eventually die out as a trend. It's like natural selection for what's popular. Yeah, but you're seeing people in the banking sector of, whatever, in the professional sector of work with tattoos and things like that. So I don't know if it's bleeding into that. But yeah, the tattoos on the face and stuff, I never understand that. Jalen, how you doing? He says, if Black women are seeking marriage and companionship, you can't expect to keep up with this negative behavior and want your partner to accept it as well. Yeah, that you might hook them like that, but that's all you got. Yeah, eventually he's going to say, well, yeah, that was fun. But now I'm going to need me a wife, that can do wifely things and, maintain a household and raise my kids. And I damn sure don't want you teaching the kids how to twerk. Evan says, or it will be absorbed into society and become normal. Yes. And I believe that it is kind of becoming that way with the tattoos and stuff. In fact, my feeling says if she can twerk and cook and make a sandwich at the same time and does not have a degree, she is marriage material. Okay. So you don't want her to have a degree. And Marty says slips can be bought from Roman's catalog, Jessica London catalog, Woman with catalog, and Midnight Velvet. Sizes starting from 5 to 35. Okay. And Sunlight, so you're replying to the Pioneer. And Robin, you say true in the Pioneer, you say, that's exactly my point, sis. You say, why should a woman over 40 be discussing her sex life? I'm asking, why not? Why did I have to go to Europe first to learn that women over 50 enjoy sex? Well, I mean, if you meet a woman over 50, I think that's something she would tell you if y'all get that far. But I don't think that should be something we as women or men should be just out in the open, especially the people you don't know. I don't care if you like sex. I only care about that if you having it with me. I don't need to know what everybody else enjoys. Yeah, I mean, the reason I think you didn't know about it because, our parents and our grandparents didn't talk like that in front of everybody. Ooh, child, Buster came over here and busted it wide open. You didn't hear them talk like that. That was something that was behind closed doors conversation. It wasn't that it was abnormal. It wasn't the conversation you have. And again, as my mom was saying, mixed company. So you didn't know that because they didn't talk like that. They man or they woman knew it though. That's all I'm saying. Yes, AJ Donovan is silly, and Robin says exactly. Demetra and Jonelle, how you doing? And Moni says, you say some of the main people that judge many of the wonderful, beautiful Black women are jealous of them. Many cultures start with whites are jealous of our build. It's better. Even the men are more endowed. Wow. Angela says putting limits on women's behavior. The Handmaid's Tale much. I tried to watch that show. I couldn't get into it. As far as putting limits on women's behavior, see, I think it's all how you draw it up, if you will. Some people say asking women to be a little bit more respectful in public is putting limits on it, but I don't see it that way. I see it as us expecting our women to act like they got some damn sense. I don't think that's limitations. I think, when you are so free with your behavior, where you twerk everywhere, anywhere, it's like, green eggs and ham. I'll do it on a box with a fox and a house with a mouse. It's like there needs to be some places you just don't do that, right? And so I don't think it's limitations. I just think it's expectations, rather. Sunlight says Toni Braxton no longer owns her face plastic surgery. Indeed, yeah. I don't know what's going on with that. Some people say low self-esteem, and some people say, well, I just want a different look. I don't know. Mona says, for example, in slavery time, Demetra, to punish a man, they would always want to cut his genitalia off. With Caucasian man, they don't have that much anyway. So they hate on Black men, always Black women off. So, yeah, that was something they did to humiliate him in every way, shape, and form. Just horrible. Hey, Anita, how you doing? He says, greeting. What did I miss? Nothing. You right on time. We'll be here for about another 30 minutes or so. And the Pioneer says, also, we can't take away the religious aspect. Most Afro-Americans have been heavily influenced by Christianity and Islam and their doctrine, which is very conservative when it comes to sexual issues. Well, conservative, not constrained. So, I mean, if you've ever read the Book of Solomon, that's very heated if you've ever read it, right? Because we wrote love letters and all of that, kind of on the salacious side. And so I think conservative is what we should be when it comes to that. But I don't think they put constraints on it. It's gotten so out of control to where it's like, my God, I don't want to be talking about that or hearing about that in certain places and spaces, right? And Robin says, exactly, Demetra. The Pioneer says, many of, where'd it go? Many of the Abrahamic religions suppress sensuality and stress less sex and more violence. And because Black folks joined or were forced in these religions, they too now believe a lot of it. Yeah, a lot of it. But you know, some people will tell you Christians and people in the church are some of the freakiest people on the planet. I'm just saying. The Pioneer says, but let's be real. Did God come down and tell us that being half nude or sexual in public was wrong and inappropriate, or did we get it from religion and tradition? So how do we know it's wrong? Well, that to me is more philosophy. How do we know, right? And we don't really know. But I will say this for a culture in America, we know that at one point in time, nudity and all of that was frowned upon. In other cultures around the world, it's not. You know, in Africa, there's some places where they're naked or mostly naked, and other places in the world as well. But that's their culture, right? That doesn't happen to be our culture over here. Back in the day, modesty was the culture. I mean, I graduated high school in 1989, which was a long time ago. But I remember there were dress codes that we had to adhere to. We couldn't wear spaghetti straps, short shorts, mid-drifts, any of that kind of stuff. And in my mom's generation, they had to wear skirts and dresses. And the skirts and dresses had to go to the knee, you know, whatever. And our shorts as well in high school. And when I was going to school, it had to, you know, be a certain length. And you had to do the measuring test, make sure your stuff wasn't too short. And so I just think it's more culture than anything. And Terry says, we shouldn't have to come out to say any of that. It should be a no-brainer that 50 isn't dead, and you should assume that if a woman is out dating, still enjoys intimacy and sex and common sense. But then I would also say, venture to say, add on to what you said, Terry, is that's her business. She ain't got to tell you. Listen, I be bending it over. Yeah, I don't think she need to tell you that. I think that's the conversation you should have with your woman or your man. But like you said, 50 ain't dead. Hell, some people say even for women in their 50, that's when the party's really getting started, right? I'm just saying. And Facts Not Feeling says women who have degrees are faster to divorce. Is that so? Do tell. Morning says a lot of people like jealousy and control, like they don't mind if a woman or man dances, but if they know that they're not well built, they find something evil to say about it. That's what I'm noticing. Okay. It's just not their taste, right? And the Pioneer says, I can't tell you unprovoked violence is wrong because, he said, I can tell you unprovoked violence is wrong because it can damage the body and cause death. What harm does sanctity or scantily, dressed and sensual behavior cause? My point is we were taught that it's wrong. I don't think we were taught that it was wrong. Some people were. It's just that it is when we started to pull away from modesty. Now look what we got. You got women scissoring each other on national TV. I ain't talking about cable. I'm talking about national television, regular TV, right? Just regular old channels. You're seeing women scissoring. And so because we've gotten afraid to just say, hey, I'm going to need you to put some clothes on. Hey, that's inappropriate. We've gotten afraid because people told us that's wrong. And now look what we got. So I don't know. You tell me. And let me see how you doing. It says perhaps it should be kept in the bedroom. Yeah, that's where it belongs, right? Or in your dining room, wherever you know, in the confines of your house, wherever. Anita says, what happens to a lady in the streets and a freak in the bed? Or right? What happened? Exactly. That's the way it was, right? A modest woman was modest out in public. She wasn't. Women didn't even cuss in public. Now you do all up in Walmart and you hear mother bleed, this N-word and BA, this stuff. You hear, like, you didn't hear women talk like that. Not to say she didn't. She didn't do that out and about. She might have did that at home. But wow, you know, what happened to being ladies out in public? I don't know. And the Pioneer says, since I agree with you that sex and sensuality should be practiced in inappropriate places, not just anywhere, anytime in public. What about prostitutions and brothels? Would that be acceptable? I mean, it depends on who you ask. I mean, prostitution and brothels, that's what they do. They are open about what it is they do, because if they were private, they probably wouldn't get paid, right? And so that's what they do, whether you agree with that profession which some say is the oldest profession in the world, whether you agree with that or not, that's what they do. And so they are on display. You go to any seedy part of town, what are prostitutes doing? They are displaying what you may be able to buy for your $2. I'm just saying. Marty says, Donovan, are you saying you're not coming back? I will really miss you and your handsome, sexy brown face. How long do you plan on staying, Donovan?
Hopefully, if everything goes right, maybe a year, 2, maybe 3, 5. I don't know. No, hopefully it just depends. Like I said, I'm retired. It just depends on how I feel. You know, I mean, but the visa's only good for 90 days, but I just go over to Haiti, come back. I got another 90 days. So,
right. He's coming back. He got animals that'll be like, wait a minute. And Marty says, keep in mind, you got those that own record labels and want to depict us as savages and animals and force a hidden agenda on our race as a whole. But if you did that to your culture, you'd be considered, comment cut off. And a pioneer says, it's not common sense in this society that women over 40 enjoy sex. Most Black women are grandmothers at 50 and over, and thoughts of grandmothers having sex is considered inappropriate for most people. I've never seen it that way. I've never seen that women, I mean, I don't know, maybe when I was younger, thought that, but hell, I'm 50, okay? And trust me, it ain't over for me if I can just be so bold to say that, right? But, 50 is not old. It's not. Like I said, most people, I guess maybe it's a kind of a known thing that women, when they get a certain age, is like, wow, let's listen to watching Perry Mason. And Robbie says exactly. And Moni says hate speech and everything else. So it's a double standard. I think we need to get back to the times of Motown where these women were classy women that knew how to dress and they were ladies, better times. And speaking of Motown, they were out in public. They had to go to finishing school and all of that. But later on, when you would hear different stories, you're like, she did with him and, Barry, Gordy, and Diana. But we didn't know that because they didn't put that out there, right? That's something we learned in their little memoirs and exposés and stuff. So that's actually a very good point. And Pioneer says, again, I analyze each situation. I have a problem with Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B freaking each other on stage. However, I had no problem with Lil' Kim coming out with just a pasty on her nipple. I mean, and even that was kind of like, why? Facts Not Feelings says women get bored and divorce is not always about abuse. Yeah, you're very right. True. Some people have a tendency to get bored. And Kevin said, okay, this age thing is old thinking. At 67 years of age, I am feeling great. No organ problems and still active in sports. And I still help raise my grandchildren. I am no ways tired, nor do I need the blue pill. I believe 60s is the new 30 for real. And that may have something to do with attention getting. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I hear a lot of men say, oh, well, you get a certain age, your little thing, or, don't work because of the age. And I'm like, it's diet, it's exercise, it's a lot of other things to that. So, I mean, like you said, you 67 and you ain't got no problem. So, And Thunder says, we must look at it with some logic. If the enemy says it's okay and encourages you to do this, remember Napoleon said, never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. Very good point. And Keziah, you say, you can tell who a person is by how they dress and how they carry themselves. To a large degree, I would agree with that. And Aye says, we are lucky that they didn't go into a full, he says, trib. They are teaching inappropriate and sexual activity. Yes, indeed. You say sex is important. Yeah, it's very important. I mean, if you do it the right way, you use it for the right things, I should say. I mean, it's important. I mean, I don't think sex is bad. I think we've made it bad, but I also think there's a time and a place for that as well, right? And Jonelle says, we have been sold the immoral cloak in whipped cream and truly have fallen away from decent, and the majority of us are only crying about the fruit of our own indecency instead of awakening and sowing moral and decency in our own conduct in life. We only truly harvest our choices, moral and immoral. The math bears the fruit of positive or negative, depending on the selection we sow. Yes, indeed. And Nastasha says, it seems to me that dress codes are very sexist and leads to the myth that they have no control over themselves and thus no accountability for their action. But again, there's a time and a place. Yeah, dress codes can be sexist because a lot of times, especially in schools, the stuff is really only applied to the girls and not so much the boys, right? But there is a time and a place. And Terry says, that's a juvenile thought to assume that a 50-year-old grandmother is somehow synonymous to a sexual woman. How did she become a mother in the first place? You better tell somebody. Exactly. And yes, Kevin, he says, Jonelle, that is deep. Pioneer says, I agree with you, sis. 50 isn't old, and I've met very attractive women over 50 now, but 20 years ago, it was considered unacceptable for 55-year-old women and sex and show skin. I've never thought that way. I've never thought that was inappropriate for a 55-year-old woman to have sex. Let me tell y'all something. I'm going to say this best as I can. When a woman is 55, okay, how can I say this? When a woman has gone through menopause, you know, she doesn't have that function that's, you know, it's somewhat of a curse. She doesn't have that anymore. So it's like, there's really nothing in the way, right? So I would think at that age in her life, she's like, hey, why not? But she doesn't need to make that announcement to the world that, hey, I'm freaking naked and ready. She don't need to make that announcement. Like I said, I mean, you know, now I don't want to envision my grandma, you know, doing those things. But I mean, I got here via my grandmama, my mama, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just never thought that because you were a certain age, your stuff just cuts off. Like, I no longer want to do that, right? And was it Methuselah and Abraham? So they say in the Bible, I mean, hell, they was getting it on up into the thousands. I'm just saying. And Moni says Florida Evans said lots of change. He says lots of change. Clothes, I couldn't imagine seeing her dress any other way based on her physique, whereas Thelma had a better shape and wore lots of sexy clothing like Walona. Yeah, but they still had on clothes, right? And Thunder says, what we're seeing is not our culture, is being hijacked and being driven off a cliff. Let's abandon and pick up where we left off and move the community not forward, but upward. Let's elevate ourselves. I love it. And Terry says, I say that people with that mentality should not date women in their 40s and 50s because you just gonna annoy us and me. Facts Not Feeling says, I told my woman, even when she's in a walker, I'm hitting it. You see what I'm saying? Just more support, right? Anyway.
Well, more support, and she can't go nowhere. She's stuck.
I'm all for creativity. You know what I'm saying? Pioneer says, when I went to Europe, I met women in their 50s and 60s who weren't married, no kids, and just wanted to have fun. You don't find that in many in America because women were taught differently. I wasn't taught that, so I'm just telling you, I wasn't taught that. And Sunlight says, Thelma and Valona weren't portraying mothers. That's why. There you go. And Marty says, Pioneer in Europe, they're very loose in their moral. Remember that a lot of things they will do culturally, blacks were never into. It's their demonic side that brings this into America. Yeah. Well, blacks were into that. You just didn't know that they were, right? We didn't talk under our clothes like we do now.
See, wait. See, I want to say something about that because you're right. That is a myth. Whenever I hear brothers talk about, oh, well, I get with white girls because they do this and they do that, and the white girls do this and do that. You know, sisters don't do that. That's not true. A sister ain't gonna let you do that on the first date. You got to work toward it. But in my experience, if you're doing what you're supposed to do as a brother, they do everything, if not more, than any other group of people.
And I'm gonna leave it at that. Pioneer says, let's be honest, the sexual prudence that Americans of all races have comes from the puritanical background that govern the funding morals of this nation, which is why violence is more prevalent. I can see that. And Anastasia says, me, Ma, didn't get 9 kids, just kissing. Okay. Wasn't no osmosis going on there. Robin says, me either, Demetra. And Thunder says, just remember, some of us like those silver highlights, you know? And Pioneer says, Queen, you say a 55-year-old woman doesn't have to tell the world she is sexual, but if I'm a younger man who likes older women, how would I know she wanted sex unless she at least hinted in public? No. Pioneer, I don't know how old you are, but I think you're probably my age-ish. She wouldn't tell you that in public. A lady would never disclose that in public Now that comes from you having to work at it. You want to take her out to dinner, have some conversations, not one conversation. A lady ain't gonna tell you that unless, I don't know, maybe she would, I don't know, but for the most part, lady ain't gonna tell you on the first date over cocktails, hey, yeah, I'm gonna tell you what I like, unless that's all she's about. But yeah, that's something you're gonna have to work for. You're gonna have to earn that conversation from her. But yeah, I mean, and I'm glad that you don't know that really in public from looking at a woman, I could do some things to her and she would let me.
Well, check it out. Demetra is an actual witness to this. This is Donovan's way of kind of reversing that, Pioneer, so you can find out. When she looks at that menu, you say, you know what this side is, and you know what this side is. And if she's ordering all the lobster tail and stuff, you know what's going to happen. But if she's ordering the fish sticks and the French fries, then hey, it's a wash. It's just
either way you getting at that, brother. Thank you so much. I enjoyed your company, okay? Terry says, patients in nursing homes have sex. Most are in their 80s. Nursing homes have policies that we do not interrupt. If we walk in accidentally, we are to leave and close the door. What is wrong with dude? Right, I mean, we're just supposed to say, hey, break it up. Get the water hose, break them apart. I mean, it's a number. 80s, I don't mean those feelings go away. I'm just saying. And let's see here. And AJ says, me neither, Demetra. And Terry says, do you guys remember the woman, me, who said she just stopped dating altogether because of annoying guys? It's right here. Woo! And Anna says, I'm in a wheelchair, but these hips work. I'm just saying, amen. You know what I'm saying? Imagine, let me stop. I'm going to stop, but hey.
Wait. Beep, 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 beep. TV trivia. Good times.
Fun girl.
Yes, Michael and Fun Girl. Yes.
Yes. AJ says exactly. And Terry says, and then some, but we are not going to put it in the local gossip news source. Yeah. Like nobody else needs to know that, but the person you dealing with. And Robin says, true, Donovan. And Anastasia says, German women were very liberal with their affection, quote unquote. And I know Donovan knows what I mean. Laugh out loud.
Damn right I know. They waiting at the base gate with their little overnight bags, buying us drinks. I mean, we go to there, they were buying us drinks. We loved it. They love black men over there. Golly.
Marty says, Donovan, big girls can get some too if you got a cute face, but I'm a big girl myself, but my waist is a 24, naturally no waist trainer. My bust is a 36, hips is right at 52. If I come down 100, waist 17.
Okay, Moni, you need to send me a picture, and I would like to, form my own opinion. So send me a picture, and I'll.
Terry, you say Demetra needs to do a class on patience. Yeah, I've been told I have a lot of patience. Because I want to make people to really understand. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think 55-year-old women are out there, well, in my mom's day at least, saying, hey, let me tell you what I want you to do to me. All that Walmart and stuff, right? It's just kind of weird.
Had women like that. It's just that those women that were in the streets. Yeah, they had women like that. They were just in the streets.
Yeah, but that wasn't the norm, right? And Moni says the difference is I can wear something tight the waist because I have no bulge. Some women are not made up like that, and you have to dress according to your own body type, Donovan. Surely you can agree. And Anastasia says you stole that joke from D.L. Hewley. What joke was that? And Facts Not Feeling says, speak, Don. The Pioneer says, Queen, keep in mind that I said hinted. I didn't say blatantly came out, laugh out loud. And yes, a lot of women will let you know, but most over 50 will not. Many have been told they are no longer desirable. Listen, I'm 50 and I never believed that. Never. And yes, I get it. There's, if a woman wants a man to approach her, yeah, there's a way of letting him know you interested without being vulgar. Like I always say this, and me and Donovan used to talk about this a lot. If a man comes up to you, most women, on a daily basis or whenever we go out, a man will you maybe say something to you. Now, if you're not interested, there's a way of saying, hello, how you doing? Have a nice day. Okay, that pretty much lets him know, okay, but if he cute and you interested, and he says, hey, how you doing? How you doing? You having a good day today? See, that was an open question. That means that I want to continue to converse with you. But if I say, I'm good, have a great day, that means I don't. So it's all about how you go about it. Now, when I say, are you having a great day? And then we go from there, we exchange numbers, you invite me out to dinner, and we have a couple of conversations, then you might find out what I'm into. But you ain't going to find that out with no lady right there on the spot, unless you met her on Tinder somewhere. I don't know. And so, like I said, damn Ambassador 63 and displays her classy feminine sexuality. Who said women over 50 don't show sexuality? Angela is sexy at 63, very sexy. And Mona says, Donovan, you are just a sneaky devil. You should be intelligent first, able to support yourself. Everything takes time. If a woman is a dancer, be classy about it. If I did it and proud of it, and what?
Okay, Moni, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this for the last time. I've got the chocolate wine in my refrigerator. So.
Anastasia says, that's the truth. At one time, AIDS and STIs were spreading like wildfire in nursing homes. Man, they was like, we going out with a bang. No pun intended.
Did you guys hear about that case in Arizona where the guy sexually assaulted the woman? She wasn't in a nursing home, but she was in a nursing home of, she was in a coma and stuff. And it was real messed up. So
horrible. Yes, indeed, Angela. The hips don't lie. And well, sometimes they do. And Pioneer said Donovan is correct. In Germany, Belgium, France, and other European nations, the women are far less religious and sexually conservative. And women of all races in the U.S., again, they think differently. That's because culturally we were taught differently. We're taught to be modest, right? Women are supposed to be meek and mild. And Moni said, I personally hated to see my mother kissing with anybody. Really offended me once. My dad divorced. I feel you, Donovan. Please tell me how long you were staying in your trip and when you're coming back home. Put it in the comments section, brother. Anastasia says, now in Italy and Greece and Turkey, they love Black women. Terry says, Demetra, I'm in here going woo-sa, woo-sa. Yes, woo-sa. It's going to be all right. I'm doing my best. Kevin says, Abraham, father of Isaac and Sarai, the mother. Abraham and Sarai, or Sarah, I guess, were 110 and 90. They were still having sex. The fact that these older Africans had a child was the issue, not enjoying their sex life at over 90. Think about that. Exactly. Pioneer says, I think most American people in general, not most women or men, but both, are confused, don't know what they want. 200 million different opinions about right and wrong with no compromise. Well, I think, there should be some compromise. What's right to you may not be right for me, right? But that doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just not right for me. And Moni says, I could care less about other cultures because many of these other cultures, no disrespect, are known to be loose and promiscuous. Black women were raised to have standards, only we don't use it. No, not anymore, I think you meant. And Johans, how you doing? He says, all these YouTube therapists will have you alone and crying in the closet. You ain't lying. That's why I try to give y'all my personal opinion from experience. I don't profess to ever be any of that. Jonelle says, unlike Black women, white women are groomed naturally loose. Black women at best are programmed via media to be wild. Girls gone wild is not the Black woman by nature. A Black woman seeks to be with one man, seeks a committed relationship. Our women are not as wild and loose as we are programmed to think. Even if she's in that life, she has that main one she's focused on. Yes, indeed. And Anastasia says, the joke about ordering from the freaking side of the menu, he told his date, oh, got it. If you order that or you or someone in the house is giving it up tonight, he told that joke on their Comedy Jam. Okay, got it.
No, that's true. He told them at the Comedy Jam. Demetra knows I actually did it.
I don't know for personally.
I actually would do that. When I was in my heyday, I actually did that. I would say, hey, this or that, period. But with me now, ladies, you can supersize. I'm good with you guys supersizing.
The last time you talked about some supersizing, our bidding went down to 58 cents, brother, Kaye. And Terry says, no longer desirable. What the hell? I have never been told that I'm the youngest in my group of friends, and I have never heard them being told that either, as they are in relationships. Yeah, I've never. But that's, as Johan says, you can get a lot of these YouTubians on there talking about women of certain age and size, this, that, and the other are not desirable. It's, you know, but come on, Terry, we know right now we go to Walmart or anywhere else, and you know, especially if we cute, and even sometimes when we ain't, somebody gonna want to say, how you doing today? I'm just saying. Pioneer says, Brother Donovan, watch out for that white dude, I think, acting a fool behind you in the door window. Laugh out loud. I got you 6, but from Michigan. Right. Dark Matter, how you doing? He says, I'm a great grandpa, and I will check them great grandma's guts. This is a slow motion for me, though. Then it's a rejuvenation dap time, rolling on the floor laughing.
I'm serious. Can we get a sandwich, ladies? Y'all want to go like immediately after the first session? Can we get a sandwich? Give me 10 minutes and a sandwich, and I'm ready to go.
You better eat before all of that, okay? That's what you better do. Ooh, Dark Matter, you crazy, but you know what? You representing. And Kevin says, I agree in general. However, I don't believe white Americans act naturally, quote unquote, in any human characteristic. Okay. And Terry says, modesty, meekness, and mild is not a bad thing either. Yeah, you know, he's supposed to be that, you know. I mean, as a woman, I don't want no man who's always, you know, talking all nasty and stuff either. It's like, I'm good on that. And Anastasia says, I know Donovan knows what happened after 7 p.m. at the swim bad. You had to get naked or leave. Okay, see y'all later. And Terry says, sexual desire does not stop with age. How old was James Brown when he had his youngest baby? 70 something? Yeah.
Well, Anthony Quinn was what, 83? The actor Anthony Quinn? And then he died like a year later, but he had that baby.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see that going away, right? Especially if you're active, you're working out, and you eating right, and you know you can move around and stuff. Now you old, like, okay, you old and you ain't exercising, your knees be creaking and cracking, and yeah, you probably like leave me alone. Okay, I don't do those things anymore. But if you know, virile and yeah, that the mommy sex, right? But if you're virile and you're spry and you taking care of yourself, yeah, why not? I'm just saying. And
wait. True story here. Demetra, you guys were at a family reunion or something. Demetra's mom and dad both went to the family reunion. Your dad was what, late 60s at the time?
70.
He was 70. They were look, he was putting mama to shame. Dad was out there doing it up.
I'm gonna find that video one day and post it. My dad he was like, don't put that on YouTube. I'm not. I'm putting it on Facebook. And Terry says, I read that. And Anastasia says, the black woman is the most sought after woman in the world. You better tell somebody. Terry says, opinions aren't facts. Another YouTuber's famous disclaimer. Yes, indeed. You know, I say it's my opinion all the time. And Pioneer says, sis, based on my observation, American women are the most aggressive regardless of their sexuality or sexual norms. I think working so much and taking care of their children often alone plays a role. Yeah. You know, when you have to work like a man, sometimes you feel like one, you know. Johan says, remember the term family business. Stop showing your true self on the internet. Yeah. Keep some of that for you. I always say that. Save something for you. Everybody don't need to know everything you're doing, especially in your bedroom.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing is whenever, I didn't really think Jerry Springer was real until I got out of the military and I'm sitting around vegetating and I'm looking at the show and I did some research, on the show to see if this was real or not, whatever. People were actually using their real names, but putting their business out there. Jerry Springer, Judge Judy, just looking just totally terrible. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, if I was a father and my daughter or son, I would tell them, don't even use your family name if you're going to go on the show. Don't do that. But they put all of their business out there. Oh, we had sex. And I was just like, oh my God.
Most people already know who they are if they gave a fake name anyway, though, right? And Terry says, it says, but forgot about that dude, laugh out loud. Yes, that's where he heard that mess, laugh out loud, the human version of Voldemort, laugh out loud. Voldemort is the Harry Potter character that you don't say his name, right? Yes. So we are calling him Voldemort instead of KS. And Moni says, well, one thing about it, to meet you, when you looked at Kobe, and you can always look at it, now their style of dress is still in flair. Now many women that are cheap will wear cheap, inexpensive clothes. Well, you know, I'm going to start it back up one day, a blog, and I own the name Fine on a Dime. And my specialty was buying clothes on the cheap. Did not necessarily mean the clothes were cheap, but it was about being frugal, but being, you know, fine as well. And so I believe in spending money on certain things, but I don't believe in spending a lot of money on clothes that you're only going to wear a few times. And Kevin, you say 81. Are you 81? Or I thought you were in your 60s. Who's 81? And Pam is jamming. How you doing?
No. Pioneer is in his 60s, I think.
No, Pioneer. No. He says he's between 40 and 50 and something. I don't know. He didn't tell us his age. And Terry says James Brown died about a year later too, but libido reduction is not a normal sign of aging. Yes, indeed. And Moni says, I was looking at the Kobe's and the style of the blouses and the skirts still in style as we speak. I love to wear a nice mink jacket, especially if you got the money. Some people are just cheap. Yeah. Pioneer says, let's not make broad-based accusations. Some older people are sexual and sexually active. Some are not. That's the truth. We don't have to go to one extreme to the other to make points. No, I agree with you on that. I mean, some people aren't, but a lot of people are. So Jonelle says, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, especially if a half-dead old white woman can pull young black men to each his own. Most people speaking on those limits are only stunting. It's not over till it's over. People find love at various ages. There are no limits in just lust. In lust and love. Very well said. And Thunder says, the song by Pookie, I'm in Love with an Older Woman, was a song when I was single. You like older women, don't you? And Georgia Rose, how you doing? He says, those old dudes on that blue pill with this pandemic, I'm sure there has to be a shortage. Yeah, and I say this all the time too. The blue pill has changed the sugar daddy and the sugar baby in game. Before you could be a sugar baby, not that I know by personal experience, I've never been one. You could just be like, oh, we just, I'm arm candy. And now he's like, you used to be arm candy.
Me and Demetra 3 or 4 years ago did a video. We were in the studio and I said, Uncle Sugar. Demetra lost her mind. Lost her mind.
I said, don't you ever say that term ever again. And the Pioneer says, Brother Donovan, Jerry Springer was real, but it was a fringe element of society that was broadcasted on the mainstream, influenced the rest of society to become morally more dysfunctional, rather.
Right. But Pioneer, do you remember, though, when Jerry Springer surpassed Oprah in, I guess, popularity and stuff? And that's when it was like, oh, my God, we've got to do something. This is just so terrible. And then, they kind of blew it down and stuff. But
yeah, they were doing everything on that show. And Jonelle says they call it smartphone because you put in it because of what you put in it. It's a web for us to get caught up in. We truly give too much info on our phones and web and various devices. We don't value our privacy. It's a show and tell society now. Look at my dinner, hole in my socks, etc. Absolutely. Everything is talked about. There's nothing off limits. And Dark Matter says we just older, not dead. I think our sexual etiquette does become refined with time. Ain't none of that. What's up, shouty mess, etc. I love it. In the Mix Radio, how you doing? The Pioneer says, what I mean by going to extremes is one person says some older people don't like sex. Instead of accepting that the fact they clap back, that ain't true. I know 60-year-olds who love sex. Okay, I got it. And Kevin says Anthony Quinn was 8 years when 81, got it, when he had his last child and died at 83 to answer Donovan. Got it. Okay. And In the Mix Radio says this mammy plantation behavior. You talk about the twerking and stuff. Yes, indeed. And Georgia Rose says, give me some sugar. Right. Yeah. It's like after these blue pills kick in. Right. And Thunder says, and that song, Slow Roll It, that older woman turned him out. Okay. And the Pioneer says Mathematics 101, just because 3 or 4 people do something doesn't disapprove that. Most people don't do it. Let's not use our own personal opinions and desires and make that the norm. Well, no, I agree with that. We shouldn't make it the norm. I mean, I can only really speak from experience, but I just know, I mean, we got a lot of people in here who are older than 55 or in their 50s, and they're saying that's not true. And so if we're going with those numbers, I would have to tend to say maybe that's true. I don't know. You tell me.
Hey, real quick, let's we got about 10 minutes left. Let's talk about your cousin, Larry Elder, and what happened to him.
Cousin?
Yeah, aren't you related to Larry Elder? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought, no, I'm messing with you, but you know. Mr. Elder, how many of you guys saw, as we know, Larry Elder is a conservative Black man that does pretty much what Candace Owens does, but he did it way before her. And he grew up in South Central Los Angeles, and he got all this stuff, right? But here's a brother that comes back to the community and he shits on it on a constant basis. And he's running for governor out here in California. So this brother thought, as a photo op, he would go back to his hometown and they would welcome him with open arms, and all the homeless people, you know, for the photo op, and all the homeless people just ran him out of there before he even got to his native home and area and stuff like this, because this guy just repeats topics of white supremacy. And this is what we mean about, you know, certain people are not going to be good here. They're definitely not going to be good over there. And, you know, they're saying that, I don't think Gavin Newsom's going to lose, but they're saying that he's the next guy that's available. And this Negro has already said that he is going to reverse all of the mandates in regards to COVID-19 and all this other stuff. So, Demetra, what do you think about that?
I'm actually going to put it up there. So let me share this with you all. So y'all, oh wait, not that. So y'all can see exactly what happened, and I'll go into a little bit more detail. I keep doing the same stupid thing. Hold on.
Yeah, and you guys might not notice a few of the bottles that came in. They're looking for her right now.
Who? All right, y'all. Check this out. This is Larry Elders. Check it out.
Fuck with me, boy. Get that sorry piece of shit out of here. Hey, Michael, stop. Get that piece of shit out of here. You gotta bring that
Oh, wait. You know what? I meant to show the rest of it. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Hold on.
Yeah, and I want everybody to also take a look at, did you notice that the white girl had a monkey mask on? What did that actually mean?
Okay, hold on.
The lady that was on the bike.
Sorry, I meant to show the rest of it.
I don't understand that. Here's a man that don't even like his own fucking people and running for governor. For what? He has 1 year to do if he even wins. He can't do shit. He wouldn't be able to get nothing done. So why is he running? Democrats control everything. He couldn't get nothing done.
And there you have it.
Well.
So, again, what had happened was, and I'm going to catch up to the comments when we're talking about this Larry Elders thing. So what had happened was, Larry Elders, as you guys know, is running for the governor of California. He's running on a Republican ticket. He is trying to replace that of Gavin Newsom, who is in a, I guess a hotly contested recall, if you will. And Larry Elders is this right-wing lapdog for white supremacy, always has and always will be that. He is probably worse than Trump, depending on who you ask, what policies you're thinking about. As far as Trump, in regards to his policies, like Donovan said, he wants to reverse everything that you can think of. He wants to stop the moratorium on the death penalty. He even said with Candace Owens, his his real cousin, not real, but I'm not his cousin, she more is, that slave owners should be reimbursed for the slaves that they lost. Now, y'all saw Larry Elders is supposedly a black man, and he's caping for slave masters, right? Sure, his ancestors were probably slaves as well. But as you guys also saw in the video, the lady with the gorilla mask on, she threw an egg at Larry Elders, and his people said, well, it grazed his head. And I'm mad that she missed, to be honest with you. But as you also saw, his security detail got the hands, okay? And the brother followed up right behind that and said, yo, this dude don't even like his own people. There's less than a year or so left for the rest of Governor Newsom's term. He just wants to get in here. And you guys know that California is blue overall, but there are some pockets of California that is red. And so they being Republicans have always wanted to flip California red. California in every primary is the deciding factor. And, you know, last time it had like 55 delegates. And so it's huge, right? And so they wanted to flip California red. And if they do that, California will no doubt be like Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, all the, you know, the dirty South states that are, you know, with the stuff, right? And so Larry Elders is going to do what his master tells him to do, but I'm not mad at it. And as far as Donovan and Gorilla Mask, again, to your point, they were at Venice Beach. It was a homeless encampment. And Larry Elders is down there trying to get a photo op. But as you saw, that went wrong. They were, you know, they were with the stuff there.
And a lot of politicians go down there to get photo ops with these homeless people. And these aren't the homeless people. Notice that man had some sense about him. This guy is probably a regular guy that lost his home under the circumstances that he lost it in. He isn't crazy. He isn't on drugs. There's a lot of people out here that just have no place to live. And what he said was anatomically correct. Gavin Newsom staying in there with a year left. Larry Elder gets in there. What's going to change? It's a political game of shell, and this is what they do. So now, it's, you know, I mean, to me, it doesn't matter who gets in there at this point. It doesn't matter. You know, nothing's going to get done. The Democrats control the assembly, which is the law governing issue. It's just, this is politics for the nation. And once we wake up, that guy understood it ain't going to matter. What is he going to do? We won a symbolic victory by keeping Gavin Newsom in there. And at this point, it doesn't matter who's in there. They're not doing nothing for Black people.
Right. No, absolutely. And so anyway, yeah, but I mean, unfortunately, Larry Elders, you know, had to learn the hard way that, yeah, they're not necessarily with the stuff. And I'm glad that they, you know, I'm not glad that they put hands on him per se, but I'm glad, you know, that he learned his lesson. You know, those people, you can't, you're pandering. Got homeless people. If anybody was really interested in helping homeless people, you would have done it a long time ago. You're going out there to say what to those people? What? Most of them probably are not going to vote. They're not interested in that. So what are you really there to do?
Yeah, and part of what that guy said, you didn't show it in the video, he said they've already spent over $300 million. And what got done to solve the homeless issue? People are still homeless, you know, so, but notice that you had the insurrection, January 6th, people were putting hands on people. Now you've got this side putting hands on people. It is divulged into a point where people have reached rock bottom. And how many times have I told you guys, what was the French Revolution about?
Right.
People got so poor that all they could do was rise up and start killing the bourgeoisie and all that other stuff. The Russian Revolution, what was that about? The people were so damn poor, they were lower than dirt, that all they could do was rise up and fight back and start killing off the bourgeoisie. What do you think is happening in this country?
Right. No doubt. So anyway, y'all, I didn't get a chance to get to the rest of your comments, but I do see them. But we are going to get out of here. Donovan has got to be about his business there in Los Angeles. He's leaving. I don't know if we'll be back here on Sunday because I have something to do. So if I get back here on time, I will be back. But while Donovan is in the Dominican Republic, if I don't do a show on Sunday, I'll try to do one makeup for it sometime throughout the week, if that's okay with you guys. And as always, we have a Cash App, PayPal, and a Venmo and become a member, or join a super chat to help support this channel. It does come with some cost, and we appreciate all of those that have donated to the channel.
Yeah, and Anise, do not come to California. Anybody that asks me, should I come to California from New York? You wouldn't be, all you would be doing is making a lateral move. That's all you would be doing, because New York, California, they're both expensive. Don't come here. Do not come to California. If you don't have the money, do not come here.
Yes, indeed. All right, y'all. So we are out of here. We appreciate y'all. And if I'm not here on Sunday, I will be here one day throughout the week in addition to Thursday and Friday. I don't know if Donovan will be here Thursday and Friday because he's, out and about. So he says he will be. All right, y'all. So we will see you guys in a couple of days. And I thank you guys so much for everything you do and being the other side of the conversation. And Marcus, guys, thank you so much for everything you do and making the show go farther on Facebook. See y'all later. Peace.